I try to find meaning in what I'm about to do, whether it's writing, whether it's shooting, whether it's directing, editing. I try to make sure that it's moving or headed towards something that's,
So I go to work all day. I come home and you're pretending to be a puppy dog.
I'm just creating content.
You've been a bad, bad dog.
Woof, woof. I'm not gonna fart in a jar.
For $700?
You fart in the jar. He's not gonna know the difference.
Okay.
You're in denial and it came out in very weird ways.
I'm not gay. I was a hedonist.
You f***ed men in the ass.
So?
The Cassie Zilla sequence was probably the coolest thing I've ever done.
You're like so small, I could fit you in my pocket.
Yeah.
This third season, is about, surrendering, one's will to God, or however we understand God.
Yo, sorry. Don't, man. I can only clench for so long. Damn. Sorry. Hey, the f*** did you eat?
You're just f***ing lying. All you do is f***ing lie. You lied. You lied. Lie. I'm bleeding.
It's why I love directing, is these are things that you can't just discover on the page. You have to be there in the environment.
Don't go anywhere, don't see anyone. Just stay there and paint until I come back to f*** you.
You're gonna listen to every motherfucking word that comes out of my mouth. Your world is mine, and I'm not your manager. I'm your fucking boss, bitch.
The toe is a metaphor.
What?
The toe. It's a metaphor. When you break something, you gotta pick up the pieces.
I try to write from an emotional place as opposed to a kind of academic place.
I've been on the toilet for 2 hours. I can't stop shitting.
Euphoria Season 3. It's over. We suffered through it. It's finished. Done. Kaput. At least I hope so. Please don't come back for a Season 4. I don't know how much more the world can take. And I'm here to give you my thoughts on it. Now, it's no secret for those of you who've been following the channel for a while that I've talked about this show a lot. I have a love-hate relationship with this show, and a particular bone to pick with its creator, Mr. Sam Levinson. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, where to start?
I mean, would you say this is the worst season of the series?
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely, no, without a doubt. And it actually makes me realise how good we had it in Season 2, which was still a mess, but it looks like Shakespeare compared to this, just in terms of, like, the narrative structure. Like, we had it good with Season 2, and that was an unfocused mess. So I don't know what that says.
Maybe start with some positives, I guess, to level it out,
Right, well, the first positive, and at this point, I think it could be seen as a non-starter, non-positive, no matter how bad or smutty or terrible the writing gets. Euphoria, in my opinion, is one of the most beautiful TV shows ever created. I think they shot this one on film again. I don't know how Sam Levinson keeps getting Kodak to agree to this. Why? We don't know at this point. I really don't know, but it looks gorgeous. So that's the positive. And I will say, this has always been the case throughout the show, the performances. I don't think any actor is half-arsing it. Their stories were half-arsed, which I will get onto, but I don't think anyone was well, maybe one, but for the most part, everyone is good. I will say, Maud Apatow, not great. I mean, Lexi wasn't really given much to do anyway, though she had potential as a character. Yeah, Maud Apatow's not the best actress, I will say. She kind of has the same expression on her face at all times. Zendaya always kills it, and that is a credit to her as an actress, because it's been like going around the press that she's very much over this show, and she had fallen out with Sam Levinson, basically because he went off and made The Idol, whatever the hell that was, that absolute train wreck.
Oh, is that why they fell out?
That's part of it. And then she wasn't happy with the direction of Rue's storyline.
Right.
But it's a credit to her that she acted her arse off. I didn't feel like she was half-arsing it. She gives everything. That shows what a professional she is.
Well, she didn't like the direction that her character was going in the third season.
No. Though, I mean, she did have like another idea that like HBO rejected of Rue being a surrogate, which in the press at the time they said would have been bad. But given how this season ends, I would have kind of welcomed it. which that'll make more sense like later. It's just a credit to her that no matter how like over it she was, she gave a great performance. And then like say what you want about her character and her storyline, got a lot to say about it. But I think Sydney Sweeney does kill it as Cassie. Jacob Elordi still killed it, which is insane given that his character was kind of screwed over. So in the first few seasons, Nate Jacobs was a complete psychopath. He's a really interesting character. Right. You know, he had a lot of trauma as a result of his dad, and like rest in peace, Eric Dane. It was quite nice to see him there, even because he had like MLS and he didn't have, you know, they gave him what they could in this scene, so it was nice to see him there.
Did he pass away during the
after
production?
the show, but it had affected his speech and everything. Yeah. And like, yeah, Nate was a very like intimidating, complex character. But in this season, I don't know what Sammy Boy did to his character. He spends the whole show getting beaten up. It's so strange. And it's like after 3 years, and also he was filming Wuthering Heights at the time, so you know, probably has a lot to do with scheduling. But think about it. I mean, it's great money, but you get called back and you see, what is my character doing? You're going to get beaten up and have your toe cut off the whole season. They get killed by a snake in a coffin.
Oh, he gets killed?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, is he not in it as much in this season?
No, he's not. Well? He's not, and I think that could be by design or like it's intentional or not. I think some of it's lazy writing, but then it's well scheduling. But like Nate's character, even if it links to the theme of this season, which this is a whole other tangent, I guess the whole theme of this season is like adulthood and like these characters like leaving school and dealing with the consequences of their actions. Right. And it's maybe realistic that a character
getting put in a coffin and killed by his fucking snake.
And it's like poetic justice, whatever.
Yeah.
And it could be realistic that like a character like Nate, who was, you know, a really like vicious bully in school, you know, maybe, you know, later in his life, you know, wouldn't have it all together, which can often happen to like the jocks in high school for the American listeners, obviously. But like, not to this case. It was like watching a different character, man. I don't know what they did.
Was it almost like it felt as though, you know, he was getting, like you said, his comeuppance, and it was supposed to be satisfying in that regard?
Yes, but it would have been satisfying if it had been the same character and he did not feel like the same character at all. I see. They turned him into, I mean, look, obviously, you know, Nate was somewhat in over his head, but he was quite cunning when he was, you know, at school. He's a very cunning character. They've turned him into a complete, like, dum-dum in this season. It's like a Looney Tunes sketch. There's one episode where the only time he turns up, like, the whole reason why he basically owns money to this loan shark, and he's like a land... he's a property developer, and he can't... It's very convoluted. He can't build, like... this property because there's like an endangered flower on this piece of land, very convoluted, blah blah blah. And no joke, one episode is him stomping on this flower and he just gets beaten up and you don't see him again, and like that's it. And his character really goes through it in this season. And that's another thing about this season in general. It feels like a 14-year-old edgelord, aka Sam Levinson, trying to do Tarantino. Right. He wants to be Quentin Tarantino so bad throughout this season. It just completely changed the vibe of the whole show.
Do you not think that teenagers will be enjoying it? Like,
possibly. I mean, for one reason, well, for Sydney Sweeney, you can guess. Well, that's why a lot of teenagers will enjoy it. But maybe if it turns teenagers actually onto Tarantino, something better, fine.
Do you really think that he's trying to be like Tarantino?
Yes. No, without a doubt.
In what way? Just being like a westerny and violent?
So very westerny. So this whole season has a western feel to it, basically, which, you know, is kind of interesting. Like, he's obviously a fan of that genre, and there's a lot of that in the imagery, in the costume design, but just in the way that, like, the story is told. Well, Zendaya's story anyway, right? Because like her whole storyline is that she works for like this pimp called Alamo Brown, who's actually. Like one of a very strange name. Like he is actually one of the best performances throughout the whole show. His actor killed it, I will say. He was very good. And her storyline is very westerny, very Tarantino-esque, and just everything. And in the dialogue, like excessive like uses of the N-word. I mean, that's a whole other topic, you know, how often Tarantino used it. But when you realize it's just Sam Levinson, because he famously won't have a writer's room. He wants to do everything himself. And there's just a lot of like instances of them using the N-word in the show. And you can tell it's like a 14-year-old watched Django Unchained and Pulp Fiction and was like, oh, I want to do that. Right. And there's a scene like with Jacob Elordi's character, which actually kind of works weirdly. It was quite intense. He gets his toe cut off, and the gore is very Tarantino-esque. And it's actually played more for comedy than horror, because him and Sydney Sweeney have just gotten married. They come back from their wedding. This loan shark is waiting for them, right? And actually, in the behind the scenes, they talk about how originally she was going to go and help her husband, which would have been interesting. But instead, he's getting beaten up in the background, and Sydney Sweeney just like stares at the camera and goes, this is my wedding night! Because they thought it would be funnier. What? And it just creates a very confusing tone. He's getting the shit beaten out of him in the background, gets his toe cut off.
What are you supposed to feel during that?
I don't know. This is the thing. And I don't know what I'm meant to feel.
Is it? I mean, to me,
Yeah.
it sounds like as flawed and as nuts as this show continues to be, and just more and more as it progresses, it never feels as though it's like boring. Like it always seems to be surprising and shocking.
I wasn't bored, like unlike The Idol.
Yeah.
Where The Idol, by the end,
Yeah.
it can be the worst crime. I was so bored by the end.
I remember, I mean, we were watching like half of a scene together, and there was a scene where like the porn star,
Chloe Cherry,
yeah, she was like shagging one guy, and then there's like a pig that walks in
Yes,
the room.
yeah, that's just another scene where it's just
like, what the fuck?
so unnecessary, so ridiculously unnecessary. And then another thing with her character, like at the beginning, because she and like Zendaya are like they're drug smugglers, and there's a bit where they have to basically like swallow these balloons with the drugs inside to get them across like the border, like from Mexico to the US. And you see her literally like choking on the eggs, and then after they've like smuggled the drugs in, she's like shit herself, just weird shit like that. And he always comes. So this is going back to Sam Levinson, right? He comes up with the excuse, and this is his excuse for for a lot, like justification for a lot of this season. He's like, but this is what really happens. Adulthood isn't easy. It's realistic.
It's not. It doesn't sound realistic.
You
at
know,
all.
that doesn't make it good, and it's just some of it is just so unnecessary,
gratuitous as well.
Yeah, absolutely gratuitous, 100%. And I think that is the main problem with this show, really. And look, Euphoria has always been like this. There's no secret. It's been a very horny show, very gratuitous. But it seems like Sam Levinson wants to provoke people. And in a way, maybe he's doing his job, the fact that I'm getting so passionate about it.
Yeah.
You can call it art in that way. I don't think that makes it good art. It's not like deep art like he thinks it is, like he pretentiously thinks it is. But I think the problem is him showing, having the show be like so vulgar, right? All this sex and all these like disgusting things. You can say you're commenting on it by like forcing us to watch, but you're not saying anything. It's not telling me anything other than these things exist.
This has got a massive following, this show, right?
It does, yeah, because it hit at a moment in pop culture, when it just hit at the right time, right?
So it's entertaining.
Yeah.
People like it. People get passionate about it, whether they like it or don't like it. You included. Maybe it's the kind of TV show that teenagers need to, like, teenagers perhaps with, like, TikTok brains like to watch, because it's just so relentlessly random and kind of like, it doesn't give a fuck about being offensive. It's just vulgar and surprising and gratuitous and crazy and bonkers in so many ways, and it's beautiful in the way it's presented. As fucked up and crazy as it is, it's it's an 18. It's like violent. It's got tits and it's got everything.
Boobs.
Literally got everything to keep you engaged. With someone who with a bad attention span. So maybe that it is in that way designed. Like it keeps you watching. I guess.
Yeah, in a way, a lot of people have specifically this season, they have said that many moments are just there to be clipped on TikTok, which I can kind of see. And look, fine, he's succeeding in that way, but it doesn't make it good, because even if something is maximalist and in your face and doesn't give a fuck, you should have really strong writing. You should usually have something to say.
But there's obviously something about it that you find so fascinating. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching it.
No, absolutely. Look, but I think it's just evolved more into a hate watch.
Yeah.
At this point, because I am fascinated, but I'm fascinated just at how this show was made and how after The Idol in season 2, he was still given the budget to do what he did. It's fascinating to me.
Yeah, it is. Really, but maybe he doesn't give a shit if you hate watching it or just watching it.
I don't think
you're watching it.
I don't think he does.
He's got viewers. He's got people tuning in.
No, that's the thing. Look, this show has done very well, but I think that's a case of, people are just tuning in to see what the fuck's going to happen with Euphoria season 3.
Yeah.
But I just think he's there to kind of poke the bear, as it were, but with nothing to say. Again, this whole show feels like it was written by a very edgy teenager trying to shock you. It really does. But I will say, getting on to the finale, it was not as bad as I thought it would be, but it does not save the whole season. And I said the one thing that saves it is Coleman Domingo.
Right.
My God, he acted the shit out of that finale.
Right. Okay.
Particularly because of one scene. And I will go to one positive, and this has always been a positive with the show, when it comes to tackling the topic of addiction, because Zendaya's character Rue is basically Sam Levinson as a teenager. That's his self-insert. That's his experience based off her. And because in that case, and all the stuff with Coleman Domingo's character Ali, when he's writing what he knows, those parts have always been the strong point of the show. He's actually very good at writing that.
Yeah.
And also because the guy, do you remember the guy who looked like Mac Miller? He was Fez. Angus Cloud. So Angus Cloud sadly passed away
as well,
beforehand. He was in Sam Levinson had to rewrite the season because of that. And he died of fentanyl overdose, I believe it was. So the season is a lot of that is about drug trafficking, specifically fentanyl. And Coleman Domingo delivers this monologue that is quite on the nose, but so well acted. And I actually did quite like that. That was very good. He basically goes on this big tirade about just the drug trade and then the corporations that support it. That was very good. That was well done. And I like that it kind of also gave Rue redemption, because going to a negative that I had about the finale of this show, it's so unnecessarily bleak. The show's always been bleak, but I just find it sad that there was no way out for this character. And I think that's probably why Zendaya clashed and was so over the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because Rue, I mean, she overdoses, but not intentionally. She's been clean from drugs because this Alamo Brown, he gives her some other drugs that are they're laced with fentanyl, and she just dies at a random moment. And I get why he did that, because it's realistic. Sometimes, when these people die, it's when they're not even trying to be on an off day. And that was realistic, very well acted. But just because it's realistic doesn't make it good, even if he's showing the reality.
Do you feel like it doesn't justify all the journey that you followed previously with this character?
Absolutely not. And then, but on the flip side, I did Coleman Domingo. He kind of goes in he has this big Western showdown with Alamo Brown. It's kind of he's kind of like the Terminator at the end. I did like that because it was justice for Rue. But I found it sad that that's all it led to. This character suffered so much.
Yeah, because she was quite a sympathetic character.
She really was, and that's because Zendaya is just she's great, such a great actress. And it's just sad that in the end, there was no way out for this character.
Maybe that's the point, though.
But
you just didn't feel like it really fit. It didn't feel like Shakespearean or anything. It just felt kind of like just pointlessly bleak.
Yeah, and then the other weird thing about the ending was about the whole season is the Christian themes. They were all over this season. Lexi and Cassie, the Sydney Sweeney's character, they have this weird conversation about about the Bible, and she's like, "Oh, you should read the Bible. It's actually quite exciting. It has a lot of sex in there." And then, in the end, Coleman Domingo's character goes out to I can't remember if it was Mexico or Texas to find this religious family that Rue meant. At the end, there's just a little big Christian allegory, and I didn't know what I was meant to feel. It was very weird. Don't know what he was
Has he been threading through religious stuff before, in the other seasons?
There was a little bit about faith, but in this season it was kind of overkill, especially with some of the visuals. Yeah. There's literally one bit where she stands in front of a burning bush, like the book of Genesis or Exodus.
Yeah.
Don't quote me, I forget which book it was. It was very on the nose. The show was never this on the nose about its religious allegories.
Yeah.
And any moral political viewpoint it had.
That's the thing that annoys me when a series just picks and chooses when it wants to inject these themes and
these messages,
and it's just it's just not consistent. To me, it sounds like compared to season 2, especially season 1, it's just completely different series.
Absolutely. And another big thing about that is the music. So Labyrinth did the music for the show in the first 2 seasons. And I mean, do you know the score for Euphoria?
No.
Very well. It's like that kind of like gospel, like trap hip hop. That gave the show much of its identity. That's why people like hold on to the show they like so dearly because of that music. That music was so iconic. You know, it's the most 2019 thing ever, but it's what made Euphoria. And like I think Labyrinth fell out of HBO and Sam Levinson, he replaced him with Hans Zimmer, believe it or not.
Oh yeah, I heard. Yeah.
And it's Hans Zimmer basically doing like kind of like it's like cheap Hans Zimmer, like cheap imitation. It's like all westerny and then like classic old Hollywood.
Right.
And I get like, okay, change up your show, do what you want, but it didn't fit. It was very weird, and Labyrinth's music was sorely missing. I don't think it worked. Then we've also got to talk about Sydney Sweeney's guy. We've got to talk about Cassie and that one scene.
Oh yeah,
just a whole storyline. What have you seen of all the Cassie and the
I saw
stuff?
obviously the scene that, like you said, was probably designed for TikTok, where she's becomes a giant, suddenly walking through the city, and you see all these miniatures. You see like this miniature like helicopter flying in the air that clearly looks like a miniature. It doesn't look real.
Took a year to build, by the way, as they like
Fucking
brag
crazy.
about that set.
That set looked like it looked fake. Like it was obviously supposed to be fake. It's supposed to be artistic. I swear, she's Sydney Sweeney like really likes that.
She said it is one of the most fun I've ever had in anything ever.
But she was like proud of that scene.
She's very proud of that scene.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the whole thing just because I was fascinated by it. Again, it's like this, as flawed as this TV show is, it's drawing people to it just because of its bonkers like randomness, and maybe it's like that's the last saving grace of this show. As he's losing grip of what made it so great at the beginning, he knew that at least if I pack in these crazy scenes that just don't make any sense, like these ridiculous sequences, at least it will draw people in and capture people on TikTok.
Yeah, and I guess in a way it also did that for, the 2019 audience before TikTok really blew up. The show has captured the moment it was in every time it's aired.
But I think like when I actually watched that OnlyFans sequence, as crazy as it was, I can understand how you could kind of call it. It is quite artistic. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like it's just something that you wouldn't expect to be made on that scale. And there's something to me whenever you watch something like that you just wouldn't expect to be like just pass through like all these people, all these writers, all these producers to be like, okay, let's do it.
HBO have been like, oh yeah, Sam, yeah, go on, brother, Sam,
let's make it.
Yeah,
and you see this guy, sitting at a computer, busting his nut to videos of fucking Sydney Sweeney.
She's holding a doll as well.
Yeah. And then you just see giant Sydney Sweeney walking up to him and puts her tits on the windows, and he starts licking them. It is mesmerizing. I can't help it. It is kind of like art, right? In the worst way.
Yeah, in the worst way. In that I just think
I just never thought I would see something like that.
This just comes from the fact that the way he talks about the show, it's just so deeply pretentious to me.
It is pretentious. No, I'll give you that.
It's ridiculously pretentious, and like that scene in particular, her turning into the giant would have been enough. And it's not like the scene is like telling you anything like deep. It's like, yes, she's an OnlyFans model. She's blowing up, literally.
Yeah.
It's like it's just so strange and ridiculous. And like going into that, it's just the fact he chose to focus on sex works so much in this season.
Yeah.
It exists in the world, don't get me wrong. You can focus on it.
Yeah.
But it seems like that's what every female character was doing. Sweeney's doing OnlyFans. Maddie's like a pimp for OnlyFans girls.
Yeah.
And then the majority of the time we're in Alamo Brown strip club, where we're like focusing on all these girls being trafficked, which goes nowhere. They introduce a bunch of characters who are like red herrings, who are kind of interesting. Like Rosalia's in there. But we don't see what happens to her, and then the one of us just goes off.
But do you not think it's making any like bold commentary about?
Absolutely not. I think he thinks it is just by showing us it in graphic detail, making us the voyeurs, being look, you're watching this. This is what you consume. So by doing that, he thinks he's making some deep commentary on it. I don't think he is. I think it's beyond like this exists. And it is kind of sad because like going back to Cassie, she was maybe not in season 2, that's when she became a caricature of herself, because in the first season, she kind of did what she did because it all linked back to her like her daddy issues. She was really interesting. She was a sweet character, but it's just very sad that at the end she's back where she started, basically, because like Nate dies and all that happens, and like you think, oh, is she empowered? Is this going to make her life better? No, she's in exactly the same spot. And it's really sad. This is the problem. especially looking back at the first season, which is very solid, despite the issues already being there. There was so much potential with a lot of these characters, what he could have done. And maybe that's a case of audiences' expectations, but there's so much you could have done. They were actually interesting, complex characters to begin with.
Yeah, he just kind of lost his way.
He really lost his way.
If you think about it charitably now, and you presume in your mind that this was all intentional, it was all part of some purpose, some greater part that you maybe don't realize. What do you genuinely think that through the course of these 3 seasons together as a whole, what do you think the message of this show is?
Sex is bad. Really, it's so...
Sex is bad?
No, sex work is bad. Sorry.
Sex work is bad.
Sex work is bad. Drugs are bad.
Okay, so you wouldn't say it's like glorifying drugs. You wouldn't say it's glorifying...
No. That is one thing I will disagree with, because of how like stylized this show is. People accused in the first season of like, you know, of like glorifying drug use. I don't think it does that. I think it was actually a really, in the first season, very interesting way to show just the feeling you get, the euphoria, pun intended, from like, you know, from taking drugs.
Right.
But I don't think it ever glamorized it. I mean, I guess the only consistent theme throughout the whole show is addiction, which he's good at writing about. I will give it that, because that's what he knows.
Yeah.
Sam Levinson knows addiction, and again, because he got great actors and then wrote some great monologues, those scenes are very good.
Yeah.
They're actually very effective. Like, there's one episode going back to season 2 that is really fucking great. I mean, Zendaya got an Emmy for like that episode. And just again, some of this dialogue, I mean, you've probably seen this clip. It's like in the beginning where Sydney Sweeney's dressed as a dog, and then Jacob Elordi has like worked with Guillermo del Toro. He's worked with Sofia Coppola. Think about it. He had to come in one day, go to Sydney Sweeney dressed as a dog, being like, "You've been a bad, bad doggy." Woof, woof, woof.
She's been getting a lot of hate as well, in particular for the for her role. I think people are also just commenting on saying like, "Look, you can do better than this," kind of thing. But what's interesting about Sydney Sweeney is that she loves it. She absolutely seems to love Cassie's role.
She enjoys this character, and every interview she's like, "Cassie's so crazy. I love it." So this character fulfills her and.
Yeah, or I've heard like even when she was asked like, "Oh, should we cut this scene where, you know, she gets her tits out and stuff?" She's like, "No, why the hell would you cut it out? I want to show this. You know, that's the point of the scene." That kind of stuff. Again,
she's happy to do it.
Yeah.
And actually, I forgot to mention another character who was character assassanated, as I put it, Jules, played by Hunter Schafer, just given nothing to do. And Jules was like always, she was very interesting in the first season. Again, it's a theme. All these characters had such potential. They were really engaging, really. Had a lot to them. And then there's no like chemistry between her and Zendaya, which is really sad because they're very close friends. And it was kind of electric in the first season. And just the last time you see her, she slaps Rue in the face and she's like, "Get the fuck out of my painting." Another great, brilliant bit of dialogue. You just never see her again.
Where's the euphoria it's in this season? Like,
there is
seriously.
no
Where's the euphoria?
I don't even know what you call it. At this point, it should be Tarantino for 12-year-olds or something. That's basically what this show is now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always been bleak and sad, but I don't know, at least in the first season, it had more to say.
Yeah.
But then again, season 2 is really like, God, I mean, just looks like a bloody masterpiece in terms of the narrative compared to this.
And you were massively shitting on that one. So you're definitely pretty sure that it's come to an end. It seemed like the finale was like a good wrap-up point.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I just think, well, given how long it's taken to make this show, which, by the way, think about this. This is about, like, I think, 6 years now?
Yeah.
Six going on 7 years.
Yeah.
We have had to wait for the, you know, let's say you're a fan of Euphoria, right? big Euphoria fan. And the legacy of this show, 6 years, 3 seasons, with 8 episodes in each season, with, like, you know, the kind of the budget of Game of Thrones. How ridiculous and insane that is.
Yeah.
How long this show has taken to make, and how ridiculously, like,
paper thin the plot is.
Yes,
as well.
Exactly. It's insane. So they definitely should not give him enough. Honestly, I think Sammy Boy's career is kind of done after this.
I wonder what he will make, you know, after this.
I mean, look, he'll probably bounce back. I'm not going to say. I'm not saying
because you say his career's done, but like, you know, look, man.
I mean, look,
at the end of the day, he's going to be making a shitload of money from this.
Oh, he will.
So it'll be delivering a lot,
yeah,
for
maybe
HBO.
But maybe he won't be given this level of creative control again. Because, like, look, yes, HBO, can cynically look at it and say he makes us money, which he does, which I think is why that's the reality. That's why they kept on giving him the budget to do what he did. But at the same time, they can see the reviews for this, and surely they don't want to work for him again because the reviews have not been good, even though it's been generating noise online.
Yeah, that's the problem, man. It's such a fine line. It's such a balance between letting a writer and a guy with a real creative vision let him do his thing, and also helping rein him in as he follows the story, as he's given more creative control, not allowing him to just get arrogant and just think he can do whatever he wants without any fucking rules. You know what I mean? It's following that fine line, that treading that fine line between how much should we have creative input here and make sure that he's not going too bonkers with the story. Like, look, we're giving him basically all creative control to do whatever the fuck he wants. Sometimes that's not a good thing, unless the person knows exactly what he's doing and he's a genius.
Case in point, despite how flawed the last season was, I think Mike White is a case in point of that. I'm fine with them giving him creative control because with those first 2 seasons, the man can cook, the man can write. White Lotus, I think, is one of the best shows at the moment. And then also, the two guys from Industry as well. They're ridiculously young, but look at the show they've made. But yeah, man, I think the key cautionary tale of the show, it's like a cautionary tale of like kind of falling into your own hype and arrogance.
I think it's what annoys you in particular as well is that he does a lot of interviews where he seems to gloat about it. A lot. And kind of speaks as though it is all intentional and part of something.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe that when it comes to tackling the themes of addiction, fine. I sincerely believe that. But everything else around the show, he talks about it like he's written some deep masterpiece. And like, oh yeah, man, but this show is really just a commentary on Gen Z and the world. And I think it's complete nonsense. And also I think this show highlights the importance of just how key collaboration is within filmmaking. Because really, this show is absolutely nothing without the performances and Marcel Rev's cinematography. This show fucking lives on its cinematography. It would be nothing without it. It would be like, at most it would be fucking Riverdale. It would be Riverdale without it. And I think that's what this shows, good, you need a good team around you, and that's largely what carried the show rather than him.
You know what? Maybe this whole series was just made for Sam Levinson himself to look back on in his older years and just enjoy it as a very overly long and convoluted porno.
Yeah, very artsy, very pretentious porn. Look, Sam, I think you should go into adult film, not even a backhanded compliment. Yeah, you'd be great at it. You can have great cinematography, which this show lives and dies on. But without a solid narrative thread or a solid story, it's just nothing but artsy, pretentious porn, which is what this is. So, yep. Thank you, Sam.